Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be looking at CarX Street, and it's brand new. Is it any good? Let's have a look at it. So straight off the bat, I am new to the CarX games in general. I haven't played many of the previous games. I might have had a little quick go at them, not CarX Drift or anything like that. So this is going to be a newbie's look at CarX Street. So why did I buy this game? I actually bought this game. I used my own money to start off with. I was not a review copy or anything like that. I did not get a key, but yeah, well, the main reason that I bought this game is because I wanted an open world game that includes all my favorite JDM cars. And yes, they're not official cars, but they are still based on JDM cars. Pretty much the last 10-15 years, and you've got all those good cars in there like the MX-5, you've got S13s, 180SXs, GTRs, all the different types of cars that you could probably imagine. I think there's 100 cars to start off with, so that's exciting. And I wanted that open world experience, being able to drive around, but also the ability to support PC controllers, my sim rig. I was hoping that it would have the ability to be able to use all my equipment, because that's the whole purpose. And it blows my mind really why Need for Speed has not used or even had controller support. Like, I kind of get it, but I don't get it. For a game and a series of games of that caliber, how does it not have steering wheel support in some way, shape or form? I'm not sure if it has triple screen support. I think I have played it before, but it was just NVIDIA Surround. But I would really like a game that actually supports triples properly, and steering wheel support, and good force feedback. And to be honest, there's not many games like that except for Forza Horizon, but there's other issues with Forza Horizon. And that's another issue. I actually wanted a game that actually challenges me to get better and not just hand cars to me. That's what I didn't like about Forza Horizon. Everything just gets gifted to you and you don't have to try. And I want a game that actually challenges me too, that's going to have some longevity to it. And it just doesn't feel like I'm just in it for wheel spins or in it for just what I'm going to get gifted next. It makes no sense to me. Take me back to the old days of having to work for your cars, having to work for your upgrades, and then get out on the track and feel those upgrades and drive. So that's what I was hoping from this. I didn't know that if any of my sim equipment was going to work with this game. I was a little bit worried about it because it is based off a mobile game. So I was a little bit concerned. But when I watched some other YouTubers just recently driving with wheels, they were talking about most of their sim stuff works. I was like, awesome, 35 bucks, definitely worth it. Let's give it a go. So I'm not going to go into the story of the game too much. It's quite basic, like every other racing car game, really. You get a call from a mate who tells you that he's just ventured into a new city. It's awesome for street racing, awesome for driving. There's big money to be made. Come down, get you in a clan, get you in a group, and go and hit the streets and get a car for you and get you up and running. You have the opportunity to make a shitload of money, buy more cars, race in the elite races, and make some coin. Happy days. So, in terms of the review side of things, I thought I would share with you guys just the breakdown. So graphics. Right. I was worried, as it is based off a mobile game, and how were they going to bring that over to PC and make it look half decent. Now I believe the other CarX games look quite good on PC, but I don't think they're open world too much. So open world does take a little bit more PC power. So I wasn't sure what sort of options were going to be there for us to look at. So I didn't know, but I jumped in anyway. And to be honest, I tried it on my 49-inch monitor first, just playing on my controller, Xbox controller, and it looked pretty good. To be honest, it looked really good on my 49. It had no issues with the size of the screen. It fit perfect. It looked in proportion. It didn't look too stretched. I was really happy with that. I thought, that looks good. It was good. And then I branched out and went, okay, now's the time. Let's see what it looks like on the 3032s on the sim. And this is where the weakness started to come in. It looks, now I've only got a 3080 and it was running at 7680 by 1440. And it started to look quite blurry a little bit. It is playable. I will still play it in my sim because it is that playable. And it's better on the wheel. But yeah, you start to see the limitations of the game engine to a degree, or maybe just the optimization. I think they can fix it, to be honest. And I believe they will. So I'm pretty happy with it so far. But yes, it is slightly blurry the bigger you go. Even on high or ultra high, it still looks a little blurry. And this game also pushes the limits. I've only got a 3080 with a 5800X3D. But I was only getting like 60, sometimes 70 frames at the most on the triples. On high settings, I think it was. So just know that. But on the 49 it worked quite well, getting about 70 to 80 frames, which wasn't too bad. Unfortunately, no triple screen support, like dedicated triple screen support. Only NVIDIA Surround, which worked quite well. There was no issues there. It is blurry like most other games down the side monitors, but you know, you get that. So, but it worked. That's the thing, it worked. Like, this is based off a mobile game, and I've got triple screen support, I've got force feedback, I've got the steering wheel working, all of my shifted handbrake. I don't have telemetry. The game does not have telemetry, which sucks. Maybe one day in the track, down the track it might with some mods, but at the moment, it doesn't have telemetry. So that's about it for graphics. Let's move on to the audio. So audio, the soundtrack's pumping. I like the soundtrack. I can't have it on this video because it's probably copyright, but the soundtrack is good, and you can change tracks while you're driving as well, which is awesome. The engine sounds are pretty average, to be honest. They do sound like the cars in real life to a degree, but they're quite muted and not aggressive like some other games. And they can be at times. Like in the intro, they seem really aggressive, and there was sparks and pops and bangs and everything, but then when you start playing the game, it seems very muted, so the audio just lacks a bit of atmosphere, I feel. But, you know, one issue I wasn't overly keen on is the AI generated voiceovers, and nearly every voiceover so far that I've heard, and I'm only 5 to 6 hours into the game, seem to be all AI generated. And I understand this because I believe it's a Russian developer, and it can be hard to find people who can, you know, do a good voiceover from there. So issues, AI voiceovers are okay. They're not the worst I've ever heard, but they don't give you that feeling, you know, that feeling of dealing with a real person to a degree. So, but I understand why. So that's cool. But outside of that, the audio's, it's just okay. It does have a volume problem. You can turn it up flat out, and it doesn't sound flat out for some reason, but it's not really loud. But anyway, let's move on to controls. When I first started the game, I started playing it on controller, and the controller was okay. I didn't really like the button layout, so I decided to change that. But then I had issues with double ups in the controls with navigation and bits and pieces, and it really didn't blend well. There's some things I think you can't change in the game for the controls. So, and if you double up on them, you'll double up, and then you'll be pressing one button and two things will be happening. So I just had to go back to the default just to be able to sort of play the game. But you can change the button layouts as well. Customize it totally, but it just caused more issues than it was worth. But the game seemed to be quite easy to play on controller. It felt like it was more dedicated for controller, just by a little bit, not by a lot. But yeah, if you're on controller, you'll have a fun time playing this game. And when you understand, I didn't understand this at the start, and I was getting really frustrated with trying to counter steer out of drifts on the controller. You don't do that. The game actually kind of counter steers for you, or in the early cars it does anyway. I'm not sure about down the track, but yeah, it's like the car counter steers for you out, so you just have to turn slightly, tap the brake, get the weight over to one side of the car, and it will steer. You can't really feel the weight in the car either, which you're not going to do that on controller, but you can't feel that in the sim either, unfortunately. But yeah, you can equate it in your mind of what's going on. But yeah, the game works well on controller, put it that way. On the sim, now this is where it started to get interesting. So all of my devices got picked up straight away, which I was super happy about because that's what I wanted. Need for Speed, what are you doing? Hey kitty. And yeah, so it picked up everything. I didn't think it was going to do that. It doesn't have many settings for controllers and bits and pieces like that. It's mainly just setting your buttons, and it detects everything. Hopefully it detects all your equipment, but it did all mine, and I was worried because obviously it's a Moza kit. Sometimes the games don't get day one ability to use. And yeah, it worked fine. Picked up everything, picked up the R9, and everything worked. Buttons on the steering wheels, my pedals, which are Simsonn Pro Pedals, picked those up, picked up my eBay shifter, picked up my Moza Handbrake. Happy days. You get all that from day one on a game, man. You ought to be happy. So the feel of the steering wheel is not like iRacing. Not like a dedicated sim with telemetry. You don't get any telemetry. It's not like a set of Corsa. You don't get the feel of the car, the weight transfer through the wheel. You do if you drive off into the grass. You can feel it go light, and then it gets heavy when it gets back on track. It's quite arcadey, but it does have the elements of sim feeling through the steering wheel as well. It's actually not too bad. I was genuinely surprised, and you can tune it and tweak it in the Pit House software with your force feedback wheel, and you can get it to feel quite good. I was pretty happy, to be honest, and that's one massive part of this game is what I was excited for, is could it do that, and it can. So happy days straight away. So and also knowing that this comes from a mobile game, that's amazing to me. That all this works straight away, no worries. Well done to the developers. Love it. So moving on to the gameplay. Now the gameplay is one of the standouts so far for me. In the early races, you can get quite frustrated because the cars are quite slow. The fact that you have to really work at the start, you can't really drift, and you're trying to go fast and can't really. I actually appreciate that, because it's not like Forza Horizon. You get thrown fast cars early on and you're already going fast. Fast is fast. But when you have to work your way up, I appreciate that a lot, because you get some sort of sense of accomplishment for that, for working and driving and doing races and coming first, and you're really trying to step up your car. You want to build it, you want to make it look good. Everything costs money in this game. The awesome part is that you have to fill up your car full of fuel. You have to put tyres on your car. Your tyres wear out. It gives it that extra depth, a little bit of atmosphere to it. It's like, okay, I have to keep an eye on things. It's not just drive around flat out everywhere like in Forza, and you don't ever stop for anything. Yeah, it's good. It is quite good. You can feel the performance enhancements of the cars. So you go and tune it up a little bit. It makes a tangible difference in the game, which is cool. tangible difference is what we want. If you're making upgrades, you want to know that you're getting those improvements, and it feels like you are, which is awesome. There's been so many times where I have just found myself just driving around, not doing any races, not doing anything special in particular, just enjoying just driving around through the hills, under waterfalls, just literally just cruising around and just looking around, seeing what's going on. And like, the city is amazing. The city is great. It's awesome. The roads are great. The traffic. I didn't talk about the traffic. You can adjust the traffic in the game. So you can do heavy traffic, default traffic, or less traffic. If you want to take some weight off your PC, you can turn that down. But I found that anything less than like full traffic feels kind of empty. Full traffic is awesome. There's so much traffic that it's fun. And it can be quite frustrating, but it's fun. The traffic's good. We haven't really had a game that's had such good traffic like this. And yeah, it can get quite busy in the cities, and it just makes it a heap of fun. And it can get frustrating in races with full traffic switched on, because hitting traffic is like hitting concrete sometimes. So if they can modify that a little bit, that'd be good. But it's like hitting a concrete wall. So anyway, but outside of that, I found myself just driving around. I found myself running out of fuel because I was just having so much fun out in the hills, sliding around, just enjoying it and testing out my car and getting a feel for it and trying to get better at it. And yeah, I found myself running out of fuel. I found myself entering circuit races, running out of fuel because I was just having so much fun that I just forgot that, hang on a second, I've got to put fuel in this car. I've got to put tyres on this car. And that shows you what the gameplay, how good the gameplay is. It sucks you in and you just forget where you're at for a while. So that's amazing. That is awesome. And the gameplay is one of the standouts. And one thing I did notice is that, like, circuit racing, like, you have to feather the throttle a lot. Like, you can't just go flat out, foot down, and turn around corners. You have to balance your accelerator with your braking. When you brake, the weight shifts, which pulls the car across. So there is some skill in it. It's not just arcade driving around. It's actually, there's some skill there, and you've got to think about it. So I've tried drifting with my sim, and I suck at drifting, and that's going to take a while to pick up. And I don't know if it's the cars I'm in, or whether it's my setup, or whether it's the game, or it's just my skill issue. Probably my skill issue. But I've seen other people drifting on YouTube, and they're doing a great job, and I'm like, you guys are amazing, because that shit's hard. So there you go. But yeah, get into it. Give it a go for yourself. So the multiplayer side of things, I haven't even tried it. I've signed up, got online, went for a drive. There's other people driving around, which is awesome. I don't know how many cars you can have in there. The biggest issue that I saw, and I'm not sure if this is real or not, but there doesn't seem to be AI cars in free roam online multiplayer. And I don't know if that's supposed to be like that, but that sucks to a degree, and maybe you can change it. I looked in the settings for the traffic settings in the online multiplayer, and it wasn't there. So that's kind of annoying, and I couldn't see any other cars either, but maybe I was seeing things. Maybe I'm completely wrong. I hope I am. But you can also bring your cars over, so the cars that you've actually built, you can use them in the online multiplayer as well as the single player campaign. So that's pretty damn cool. Pretty cool. Unlike Need for Speed, I believe you can't do that, which is weird. But yeah, so I haven't tried the multiplayer much, but everything else is looking good so far, and the multiplayer works well. From what I've seen online, on YouTube, it seems to work well, which out of the box for a game like this, it's just $35. Good value, good value. Alright, let's move on to the issues. Okay, game sounds good so far, right? Well, let's see, what are the things that they could work on here? Issues. If you're used to Forza Horizon, like I said, you don't get gifted cars here. You have to work for your cars. You have to work for your money. You're not going to be able to really buy every car that you want. You don't get money that easy, and everything costs money. So tires, fuels, tuning, new cars, everything costs money. And it's a bit of a grind. I'll be honest, it's a bit of a grind. So I'd want to choose the cars that you want. You may only get to pick 3 cars for the amount of time I'm going to play it. Is maybe a grip car, and maybe a drift car, and maybe something else. But yeah, at this point in time, I can't really see yourself organically getting enough credits to buy bulk cars. And that's why I got the deluxe pack, because I wanted extra cars, and I was afraid of that I would have to buy credits or something, and I don't do pay to win, and it annoys the hell out of me. So yeah, that's what I went with. Other issues, optimization, obviously, but it is a lot better than most games that have come out these days. And the optimization needs a bit of work. I think getting 60 frames on a game that looks like this game does, it really should be better than that. And whether that's CPU limitation due to the AI, but I feel that there's a lot more in this game. There's a lot more room for improvement. And I think it'll come. So as long as people get around it and they stick to this game, the optimization will definitely come. But it's playable, man. Straight out of the box, it's playable, which is so good. Playing on controller and obviously adjusting the controller layouts, it's confusing for me, or it was anyway. Maybe I'm just weird. I don't play on controller much, so there was just some issues with double bindings, which I spoke about. The AI opponents and the AI traffic, they are like death. If they run into you, if you go through an intersection at a red light and they're coming, they just sideswipe you, punish you, and just go straight through you sometimes, which is what would happen in real life. But they just hit you so hard that you can do flips, man. I've done flips down the road because I've been hit so hard. And if you just tap a wall sometimes with the front of your car, it sort of drags you and sucks you into it, and then you lose all momentum. But there's a few things in there that you just feel like you're hitting concrete walls, and it makes you stop hitting walls, I can tell you that much. So that's a bit of an issue, because it's just more frustrating than anything, but not the end of the world. Don't hit walls, don't hit other cars, you'll be safe, but you will hit cars, I can tell you that, because there's lots of traffic if you got it pumped up. One thing I found, this is a weird one, when you're driving in manual mode, whether it's on a controller or on sim, if you have like an accident, or you spin out, or you crash into something, for some reason it drops out of gears and just goes straight to neutral. Doesn't matter what gear you're in, it's like the game sort of just throws you back into neutral all the time. And that's annoying, especially if you're driving in a manual shifting sim, or even on controller, because you have to keep looking to see what gear you're in all the time, because you've bounced out and you've gone into neutral because you spun around. Like, I don't know why it does that. If you could fix that or remove it, that would be fine. I mean, you should still be able to stay in a gear and just stall, but it just manually throws you back into neutral sometimes for no reason, from what I can see. Just a spin. So that's, yeah, a minor thing, but it is a little bit annoying. And obviously the other thing is just no AI in the multiplayer. I could be wrong about that, so don't flame me, but I just couldn't see it. So, end of the day, should you buy this game? I feel this game does fill a few spots where Need for Speed and Forza Horizon don't have in their games. A few big spots. This game takes me back into the day where you had to work for your respect in a game. Like Need for Speed, you had to build up your respect, and you had to grind and really work hard to buy other cars and stuff. You don't get stuff gifted to you here, thank goodness. That's the worst model I've ever seen, and it's bad for training people to just expect everything to get given to them, especially kids. So you have to work for your respect, you have to work for money, you have to do that to earn cars, and it's just, you just enjoy the driving for the sake of driving. Is another thing. There's no loot boxes that I can see so far. There's no wheel spins. But But what this game does provide, at this early stage anyway, is super fun gameplay once you get into it, once you get past the early stages. So stick with it. Great roads, great city. It's a challenge, which I like. You won't win every race, I can guarantee that. There's no catch up from what I can see. If cars get out in front of you and you have a shitty race, they don't slow down. There's none of this, I'm just going to slow down, catch up, and then have a close race at the end. Nah, you lose, you lose. I like that. Thank you. Thank you, developers. The ability to race with friends and drift with friends is going to be so amazing once we get the drifting down. Modifying your cars, customizing them in so many different ways that just whatever suits you best. You can really customize your own car to make it look like and feel and drive like you want it to. That's sick. Once you get your own car dialed in, you'll be so happy. I do recommend this game, obviously. And if anything above that I've said, is what you're looking for in a game, then I believe the optimization will get better. And this game could turn out to be a big scope and a lot of fun. They could bring in police chases. Who knows where they're going to go. But anyway, guys, I hope you liked this video. Like and subscribe if you wish. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace out.